Here in Awesomeness Fest in Croatia. This is Dubrovnik behind me here. We're actually up on the wall at the moment, looking over the city. If you ever watch the Game of Thrones, this is kind of like this set for it. And Dubrovnik is a city right here in Croatia that is surrounded by a wall. And that's really the whole point of the Blindside Revolution, is that there are these barriers to entry which large companies have actually built over the Industrial Revolution, and we are now seeing them being blindsided by entrepreneurs, by people like you and me, that have the ability now to play on a global scale and disrupt the industries that already are out there. So as we kind of like wander along this wall a little bit, I just want to share with you, first of all, some of the slides that I'm also going to be sharing with the group at Awesomeness Fest. And they're really all about the fact that we are going through this revolution right now. I mean, if you actually look at all of the different companies that currently used to be so successful, that have actually gone bankrupt, and if you actually look at what the reasons are, imagine that you start with the concept that it isn't because people are just evil or that they don't know what they're doing, but that they're actually getting blindsided in some way from a direction they're not even expecting. There's a great story which I love to share about the Battle of Trafalgar, because that's exactly what happened when Lord Nelson blindsided Napoleon's fleet, where every single time that they were going into battle and there was any kind of like Navy battle until then, they used to line up in formation so that they could see the signal boat. And because of that, whichever had the largest fleet was most likely to win. Because Napoleon had a much more powerful fleet than Nelson did, what Lord Nelson did was he decided to have an entirely different strategy to surprise them. As you can see from this image here, the way he did it was creating two columns in formation that went at right angles and went right into the fleet at speed in such a way that as they kind of like went through, it was almost impossible for them to be shot. They hit the boats that were closest to them, they curved around, they did it again. They fundamentally blindsided the entire fleet of Napoleon, and as a result of that, they ended up winning with a much smaller number of ships and a much smaller number of people. And that's really what we're seeing as well now, where you don't have to be the biggest, you don't have to be the strongest, you simply need to know what direction to come from. These are 12 industries that make up really the majority of our industrial revolution. And each one of them are getting blindsided at the moment at right angles from 12 technologies. And these 12 technologies, you're going to notice there are companies out there, whether it's a company like Apple, or whether it's a company like Google, or like Amazon. And in each case, they're using different technologies, and just by mastering those technologies, they're able to blindside one industry after another. And because of this, if you think about education, the people who are actually disrupting it the most are coming from outside the industry. You think about the environment, or you think about any of those different areas that you might today think that you're involved in as an industry. And instead, if you think, well, maybe it's about the technologies that I'm actually mastering that allows me to disrupt any industry, that's what really makes the huge difference. And so it all comes down at the end of the day to knowing the difference between purpose-driven and profit-driven. Because within the Industrial Revolution, there were 12 profit streams, which now are turning into 12 purpose streams. And if you actually have a look at these diagrams here, you can start to actually think for yourself, not just how do you want to make profit, but more importantly, what's being replaced now in terms of alignment of purpose? Who are the people I should be connecting up with? Who are the people I should be working with right now? And which of these 12 top purposes that currently we are seeing people all around the world align to, entrepreneurs saying this is what I'm actually committing my life to, what I'm going to be focusing at, which of these are the ones that for you are going to make the biggest difference to how you leave a legacy on this planet? So with that being shared, I'm just going to kind of like give you an opportunity to just get this little taster. Awesomeness Fest is an amazing program that I really recommend you come to if you can. It's organized by Mind Valley and Vishen Lakhiani, who've done an amazing job connecting entrepreneurs all around the world. I'm right now here, as I mentioned, in Dubrovnik. I'm going to leave you with a little video from us on our boat trip as we actually were out the other day on the wharves of Dubrovnik on the other side. And with that, have a think about what's your purpose, what technologies you're going to end up focusing at so you don't end up being the one that's disrupted. You are the one that gets in there and does the disrupting. Until the next episode, this is Roger on Entrepreneur TV. Subscribe here and we will catch up with you next week.